Well, good afternoon, Women Grow community, and Miss Roz McCarthy. So great to see you.
Hi, Saphira. How are you?
Oh, I couldn't be happier to be here with you. When Shonda, Dr. Shonda, and Gia called me and told me about this exciting takeover at MJBiz, and they talked to me about speaking, and they mentioned that I was going to get to share the stage with you. I said, "Oh, why has it taken so many years?" So I'm really thrilled to be here with you.
No, I'm excited to be here as well. This event is just spectacular. This space being here with Women Grow. So thank you, Women Grow, for inviting us. This conversation is so important and so critical, and we're at a critical point right now. And so I can't wait to be able to kind of talk about it together with one another and really share a perspective that everyone needs to get involved with and stay connected with, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Roz McCarthy. I'm the founder and the CEO of Minorities for Medical Marijuana, as well as a new wellness brand for women entitled Black Buddha Cannabis.
So cool.
So it's a very cool brand, great products focused on women.
My name is Saphira Galoob, and I am the Executive Director of the National Cannabis Roundtable. And within the last couple of years, Women Grow has established itself as a really important voice in cannabis advocacy. It sits kind of on the precipice of entrepreneurship and social justice and economic justice and justice for opportunity and justice for those who've been disproportionately impacted. And we have worked together on some legislation with your organization, your outstanding organization, and with Women Grow that I think we want to talk a little bit today, and that is the Safe Banking Act and the Climb Act.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can actually start with safe banking, and then we can talk a little bit about what they mean. If we get to.
Well, let me preface and set a foundation. If we do not set policy that's going to be supportive of diversity, equity, and inclusion, if we don't do it now, in the initial stages of legalization at the state level, local level, as well as the federal level, we will miss the boat. And so this is why it's exciting to talk about SAFE and to talk about climb, because policy rules the day. And if we don't have good policy, we don't have a good industry.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's an important segue into the types of policies that are currently getting traction in Capitol Hill. When people ask me about legalization, they'll say, well, when is it going to happen and what is it going to cover? And I said, well, I understand why you're asking that question, but legalization for this industry is a process, it's not a moment. And where we are now in that process is actually traction on some really important legislation. The first is the Safe Banking Act.
Right.
Worked closely on that together, and that is a piece of legislation that's passed out of the House of Representatives 7 times, and it is currently under consideration for passing at the end of the year, and it essentially creates a safe harbor for depository financial institutions. So this is where you do your banking.
Yes.
And we can talk about the ability to get a bank account. This industry, I'm sure folks who are watching us know the pains and the expense associated with that. So this would create a statutory safe harbor for depository institutions, and people are really excited. And then, do you want to talk about the Climb Act, since you've been so crucial in its introduction and its advancement? Go ahead.
Absolutely, and even tapping into the safe banking, first and foremost is that cannabis reform from a policy perspective, we haven't seen it. And so we have an industry that's creating billions and millions and billions of dollars in revenue. However, we don't have a banking infrastructure. And safe banking gives us some sort of infrastructure. Then you go and you look at the Climb Act, and thank goodness for Congressman Troy Carter. We have to give him kudos and thank you right on camera, because he's a sponsor of this bill. And this bill is all about, again, being able to create opportunity for those entrepreneurs and those businesses to be on the exchanges. Think about being able to go and create investors and create stakeholders through the different exchanges that we can have to be able to exchange and be a publicly traded company. As well as think about the SBA and all of these federal agencies that are focused on being able to support businesses through education, through mentoring, through loans, through grants, and what have you. If you don't have some type of amendment, some type of act that says, you know what, it's okay for you to do business and to work with cannabis and not get your hand slapped, it's not going to happen. And so I'm just excited because I think the two bills really work hand in hand.
That's right.
One's a financial, depositing your money, you have safety. One saying, listen, we want to give you access, and we want to also take the squeeze out of the market. The market right now, investor market, let me tell you, right now to get an investor to again, be working with you as a new brand, as a potential operator. It's really, really tight right now. The Climb Act would give us some room to breathe, to be able to look at this, to give confidence to investors that, you know what, it's okay. This industry is not about to implode, that this is an opportunity, that we do want to provide access to capital to small businesses, to large ones, to equity, across the board. So that's the exciting thing about Climb, in my opinion.
Well, and I think you really are the epitome of why the Climb Act was created. And I would like to get a little bit into detail just because,
Sure.
Devil in the details
Yes,
policy.
yes,
So
please.
what I hear you saying is that access to capital is crucial.
It's critical.
Depository institutions, basic financial services, yes. But if we don't have the money to grow the businesses, then that license or that brand is basically going to lie dormant and likely die with
Yes.
lack of oxygen. And so in addition to the Climb Act ensuring that SBA and CDFIs, community developed financial institutions,
Yes.
minority development institutions, basically every program that exists for every business outside of cannabis, it should exist for cannabis, state-sanctioned cannabis businesses, and the dependent businesses, some people call them ancillary businesses, dependent businesses,
Yes.
of which so many women entrepreneurs are in the space through that kind of portal. It creates access to those loans. And this is really, gets real important, is about valuations.
Yes.
Because if you're asking for money to get your business off the ground, that investor is going to look at what your company is worth. And if we have access to the U.S. senior exchanges, as opposed to foreign senior exchanges, which are subpar,
Yes.
then that investor is going to say, hey, Roz, if we have access to the U.S. exchanges and I'm going to extend money into your business, I'm not going to give it to you, I'm not going to loan it to you, you're going to have to give me part of your business in equity. And if we had access to the U.S. senior exchanges, you get 5 to 7 times, you give up 5 to 7 times less of your equity. So rather $1 million for 20%, you give $1 million, you get $1 million for 2%.
For 2%, right? That's a better
20%
math.
versus 2%. The math tells us. Absolutely. And what's that mean for somebody like you?
It's critical. We know that when you need access to capital, that equity conversation is going to happen. And being a proud businesswoman, no one, if you own something, you don't want to have to give up more equity than you have to.
Right.
You realize you have to, but when the market is really tight, like it is right now, when there's not, when there's no type of entities that support the financial instruments that we need for this market and for this industry, it really makes it tight. Where the negotiating power, I don't have the negotiating power. My power is literally like, I need money and I will take it at whatever rate that I can get it at, right? In order to create and to be able to see a successful business grow and prosper, we need access to capital, point blank period. You need it to build capacity. You need it to grow. You need it for marketing. You need it for packaging. You need it. And at some point in time, we've got to do something to be able to jumpstart the social equity opportunities that are out there. And I believe the Climb Act can do it. It is not, and again, let's go back. The Safe Banking Act is not an equity bill. It is a financial cannabis reform bill. The Climb Act is a cannabis financial reform bill that can have a positive effect on our equity conversation and building equity and seeing more of our social equity operators become successful. And so we want to make sure that, yes, big cannabis will win. Yes, big cannabis will take advantage of it. But guess what? Little cannabis, Roz cannabis, women cannabis, we will also be able to take a part of it and be able to win as well. And so I think that's really important for us to make sure that we make that disclaimer.
Well, and you have both educated me and really given me a leadership that what we're talking about in the social justice conversation is economic justice.
Yes,
And
yes, ma'am.
economic justice is part of the pillars. It's one of the pillars of criminal justice, social justice. And I don't want to mince words that the other is not important and that we shouldn't be fighting for it. But the pathway towards this policy advancing and the politics are in place. Right now the Safe Banking Act is being negotiated
Yes.
in a package called Safe Plus. You may have heard that. And what that means is they're going to be taking the Safe Banking Act as it passed out of the House, They're going to be, as reported this morning from Politico Pro, a lot of buy-in for a piece of legislation called the HOPE Act.
Yes.
And the HOPE Act was a piece of legislation introduced by Congressman David Joyce, who is a co-chair of the Cannabis Caucus. He's a former prosecutor, Republican from Ohio, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Nice.
And this unexpected combination of bipartisanship introduced the HOPE Act. And what the HOPE Act does is it extends grants to states to help with state expungements, because we know, despite President Biden's recent announcement that he would like to help pardon individuals who are incarcerated for cannabis, the lion's share, and I mean the tens of thousands, maybe even the hundreds of thousands of people who have records, which expungement addresses records, pardons do not, that is a state level question. So having the money to do that. So SAFE plus HOPE. And then if we could get the CLIMB Act in there, we would be addressing economic justice.
Some economic justice, some social justice. I will tell you, as an organization, we've put on almost 15 different clinics throughout this 2022, expungement clinics throughout the country. And we do it in we do it in California, Florida, New Jersey, Maryland, Massachusetts. And the issues we're having are at the state level. The support that we need financially, we need it at the state level. We need those dollars to be able not only to do the clinic and have people come, you're marketing to get them there. And I tell you, sometimes it's tough to get people there because there's a lack of trust in who's the messenger. Are you really trying to dig into my past? Are you really trying to help me? So we have to jump over that hurdle. And then afterwards, you sit and you're able to go through and identify where those opportunities of clearing their records. But then it's also the wraparound services, because some of these people are still harmed. They're still looking for some repair in their life. And so these are things that if the HOPE Act and if this Safe Banking Plus were to come together, you're talking about an opportunity to create support for the holistic person, to be able to clear a record, but look at other different issues that are going on that's really affecting their success in life, right? So I'm excited about it. I believe as an organization that focuses on this as one of our programs, that this will be something that would hopefully not only take off at the federal level, but at the state level, our mayors, our city councilmen, get them to buy into the fact that cannabis legalization is happening, and people that have been harmed, that have gone to jail, that have been incarcerated, deserve an opportunity to get their record cleared and to have an opportunity to live a better life. And that's what it's all about.
Well, and your organization has been at the forefront of what I call boots on the ground.
Thank you.
And I'm first of all, I keep thinking that you're not a twin, but you're a triplet, because there is no way that one woman can do so much good in the world. I really believe you're already a saint.
No.
But I would love for folks who are watching, in terms of getting involved in Women Grow.
Yes.
I know that the folks that organize this have some really easy ways that people can get more information and communicate interest and share what specific areas they'd like to connect the organization and the industry. But I would love to know how folks can get involved in your organization.
Absolutely. Shout out to the M4MM team. We have about a team of 15 people here in Las Vegas this week, and they're here to be able to create connectivity and support and provide education, but also to be able to tap into their own personal development. And so if you want to stay connected to M4MM, it's Minorities for Medical Marijuana at www. M as in Mary, the number 4, M as in Mary, United.org. It's easy, simple. Send us an email, send us a contact. You can call us, 877-900-0832. But we look forward to staying connected with folks. We do have a policy brief that we were able to create and connect during Congressional Black Caucus. That brief talks about the CLIMB Act, Safe Banking Act, the HOPE Act. So if you want to get educated and you want to know about these acts and learn about some of the policy recommendations, go to our website and you'll be able to download it and get it for yourself.
Well, that is enormously helpful. And I think as we all continue on this journey, we have more and more responsibility the longer we're in it. And I think that your leadership and your commitment and your unfettered energy, which I continue to be amazed by, is going to be really the tip of the spear that gets us where we need to go, along with Gia Marone and Dr. Shauna Macias. And I'm just honored to be a part of it. So thank you so much.
And thank you, Women Grow, for giving us the space to have this conversation. We really encourage everyone. make sure you stay connected to policy and understanding what's going on, why it's important. Weigh in. Someone asked me today, well, how can I get involved? Reach out to your state reps, reach out to your Senate, your state senators. Let them know what's important to you, why it's important, and why you want to make sure that women of color, equity is important in this industry. It's such an important conversation, and policy rules the day.
Roz gets the last word.
Thank
she
you, guys.
knows what she's saying. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saphira. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, honey.
Thank you, guys.
All right, great.